Well, I just got finished watching the Vampire Diaries. Hey guys, my name's Jolie, and today I'm going to be doing the social media tag. I'm supposed to pick a book that is really short but I really love. So that one for me is An Abundance of Catherines by John Green. It follows a boy named Colin who only dates girls named Catherine, and he gets dumped by his 19th Catherine, and he goes on this road trip with his best friend, and I really don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, so I'm gonna say Hassan. Anyways, I love the characters in this book. I love everything about this book. It was so good. It was so lighthearted. And, you know, some stuff does happen in this book that I'm not proud of, but it does happen and you get over it. And, plug your ears if you haven't heard this, if you haven't read this book yet. If you haven't read this book, put it on mute. I will tell you when to take it off of mute. Why in the heck did John Green have Lindsay and Colin date and then after 4 days stop? Like, come on, John Green, you cannot have a happy ending once. I mean, Looking for Alaska, The Fault in Our Stars, An Abundance of Catherines. What's next? Paper Towns? I haven't read Paper Towns yet. I'm so sorry that I haven't read Paper Towns. But what are you doing, John Green? Why can't you just have a happy, peppy ending with people who love each other so much? Why does she have to dump him? Why can't they just be happy and live together forever? Why not? And I'm not gonna even say anything about Colin #2 and then, what was her name? Christina or something with Hassan. I was so sad, although I knew it was gonna happen. I was so sad about it, and then I hated Colin #2. I was just like, no, someone has to tell Lindsay about this, because no, that is not right, especially in a graveyard. Are you kidding me? So that's what I felt about this book. It was good. I loved it. I really did, but come on, John Green. Pick a book that I was pressured into reading. And I think I was pressured into reading about like 3 books. Okay, so the 3 books that I was pressured into reading was The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I was kind of iffy on this book. I had already listened to the audiobook, so I knew what was gonna happen. I had to stop during the 3rd one because my dad's iPod got stolen, so I couldn't listen to it anymore. So I had to reread it, and I tried and I couldn't do it. I'm sorry for everyone who loves The Hunger Games. I couldn't finish it. Okay, so my next one was The Maze Runner. I read this one mainly because Ryan promised me that she would read The Infernal Devices if I read the Maze Runner trilogy, so we kind of did a switch off thing there, where, I mean, I was okay with the series. I didn't like how it ended. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't something that I personally would have like picked up and be like, oh, I want to read this. It wasn't like that for me. I just kind of read it and I liked it, but I wasn't in love with it. Now my 3rd book, the Mortal Instruments series. Again, Ryan told me to read this book. I have heard the movie came out. I made a mistake. I've been wanting to see this movie like when it first came out. And then my parents were like, hey, let's go watch it. And when I heard the name, I was like, that sounds so stupid. Why would I want to watch anything like that? So, yeah, I remember seeing this movie in all of the trailers for it, and it looked so good, not knowing what it was about. I mean, I read this, I think, a year after the movie came out, so I'm so late. But honestly, I loved this series more than anything. Like, this series for me, I cried so much, so often. It was just, wow. Like, I couldn't wear any makeup if I was going to read this series or any books from the series. You're supposed to pick a book that you read before it was cool, so I had to go get my tumbler glasses so I could tumbler myself out. The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I read this before I knew anything about the movie. I read this before anyone knew about it. I mean, I got this for Valentine's Day, and I read this first. This is like one of the books that really got me into reading. It was this and Legend, and I read this book and I was like so in love with it. I didn't cry, and I know a lot of people did cry reading this book and watching the movie, but I don't know, at the time I was kind of like, okay, well, yeah, I knew this was kind of gonna happen. Wasn't expecting who, but I knew it was going to happen, because I mean, you're reading a book about cancer patients, so it's eventually gonna happen. So yeah, The Fault in Our Stars, hipster. I could just like, you see this? This is like hipster in a video. Like a book that I do not associate with myself anymore, and that is The Match Trilogy by Ali Condi. The trilogy itself was okay. The thought of it was pretty sad, because, you know, you didn't have any of the art and poems, and they only had like 100, I think, that were picked for you, and it was pretty sad coming from that aspect. But other than that, I don't know, I felt like the characters were kind of dull, and it was just, it wasn't very good for me. But at the time, I read it and I was just like, yeah, this is so cool. I love this book. This will forever be one of my favorites. And now I'm just kind of like, no, go sit in the corner where I cannot see you. But I still have it on my bookshelf because they look cool. Alright, so for Instagram, I was supposed to pick a picture that I would love to model with all the time. I already have this one. Okay, so my modeling book is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, and this is the 6th and final book in the Mortal Instruments series, and I loved it, and I cried, and the epilogue, it was all just so very good. So yeah, can you imagine it can I pose with this thing forever? Like, yeah, just... I'm supposed to pick a book that I would love to see turned into a movie. And that's hard, because a lot of times I like them just to leave the book alone. Like, just leave it alone. Let it be. I like my characters how they are. I liked it how it is. Don't change anything. Don't. But if I had to pick one, I would pick Indigo by Gina Linko. And this book, it was really good, but I do feel like they could have added some stuff into it to make it just that much more interesting. So this would be a good book to kind of like play around with, you know, and add some stuff, take away some stuff, and yeah, just as long as you don't take away Rennick, okay? Rennick and Corin have to be. Leave them alone. But other than that, everything's cool. So yeah, this is my YouTube book. Okay, so for Goodreads, I'm supposed to pick a book that I would recommend to everyone. Now for this one, I have a trilogy. And I also have 2 categories that goes along with this book thing. It's people who don't necessarily know what to read, but they want to start, you know, like they just don't want to pick up something and be like, oh, I don't like this. So you have the non-readers, and then you have the readers, people who are already introduced into reading and they already like reading. They just want something new. So for those non-readers, I have Legend and Divergent. Divergent is very big right now, and you know, it's kind of in that place where you have Divergent, you have The Fault in Our Stars, and all of those teen books are now coming out, and then you have Mockingjay Part 1 coming out this month, actually. Yeah, it comes out in I think about 2 weeks, so yeah, there's that, and then you have Legend, which isn't so big, but a lot of people know about it, and it's really, really good. So Divergent is about a girl named Triss Prior, and her world is split up into 5 factions. So you have Candor, Erudite, Amity, Dauntless, and Abnegation. And then with the 5 factions, they each stand for a different like personality or a characteristic of the human nature, you know. And so I think Amity is peaceful, Dauntless is brave, Erudite is smart, Abnegation is selfless, and Candor is truthful. So you have all those factions, and you have to take a test when you're 16, and that test, it basically tells you which faction you're going to be in. So yeah, and she goes and she takes this test, and she finds out that she's Divergent, and she has to go into hiding because Divergents are very, very rare. And it turns out that this whole thing, it's really good. I cried many times. So for my second book for my non-readers, I have Legend by Marie Lu, and this follows a girl, and one day her brother is murdered and she has to go undercover to figure out who did it, why they did it, and it actually has 2 point of views, and it's her name is June, and then you have Day, like I guess a suspect in, you know, the whole crime thing, and they all think that he did it, but it was really, really twisted, and a lot of emotions went into this book, and it's just really good. These both are trilogies, and you can get them pretty much anywhere. I got, I think, both of these actually from Barnes & Noble, so read these if you're non-readers, and if you're looking to get into reading, you would really, really enjoy it. I know I did, and yeah. For my readers, I have the Infernal Device trilogy and the Darkest Minds trilogy. Now, the Infernal Device trilogy is a prequel to the Mortal Instruments. I would read this first because of spoilers in the Mortal Instruments series that kind of go along with this, and you will not want to be spoiled with at all. But you can really read it in any order. I mean, a lot of people like to read it and like the date that the books came out, or the Mortal Instruments first and then the Infernal Devices first, or, you know, you can do it whatever way you want. I read the Mortal Instruments series first and then the Infernal Devices. I made some connections and got spoiled early on in the 3rd book. But, you know, it's okay. I was kind of happy that I had that spoiler, and then I got really, really spoiled at the end of the 3rd book and the epilogue, so don't go snooping around the epilogue first, okay? If you're gonna read Clockwork Princess, do not snoop around the epilogue. Read it, please. Don't spoil yourself. Do not go on any social media while you are reading these books. Now, this book is a little different because it's not as big, but it's still pretty big, so you don't want to get spoiled. I actually have not read this book yet, so yeah, I'm gonna have to get on that soon. I feel so bad. And this book is by Alexandria Bracken. Yay! Cannot wait to read this book, and I'm gonna be super, super excited. So, readers, get on it. Okay, so I really hope you guys enjoyed my social media tag. It was really fun to make. I got to be a hipster for a little bit, which I certainly am not, so make sure to subscribe and to like this video and give it a big thumbs up, and make sure you follow Ryan and I's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and we keep updates on there and when we're gonna post these videos and stuff. So really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I really hope you guys keep watching. See you later. Bye!